Yeah, Chris, it's not often that the names not on the list become just as newsworthy as those on it, although the names on this list are noteworthy to many people watching. Not just the normal loyalists that you would expect. Some viewers may be surprised to hear the name, for example, of Martin Reynolds. This was Mr Johnson's former principal private secretary who was awarded the Order of Bath. In May 2020, Mr Reynolds was the person who sent an invite to staffers to, quote, bring your own booze to a party in Downing Street. Then there's Shelley Williams-Walker. She gets a damehood. She was number 10 head of operations. She now runs Mr Johnson's office. She was the person who was dubbed DJ SWW at a party the night before Prince Philip's funeral. None of that is why Rishi Sunak was in Doncaster today. He was out appealing to northern voters, but once again he was learning that wherever Rishi Sunak walks, it's often in the shadow of Boris Johnson. Fresh from Washington, the Prime Minister hops straight from DC to Doncaster to tell the North just how key seats up here are to election success.
Now, we know that our majority runs through the North and that there is no route to electoral success without you. Now, I know some of you have said we should have a minister for the North, but I am a Prime Minister for the North, sitting...
But the shadow over this room wasn't cast by the Prime Minister on stage, but the former one, responsible for winning Red Wall seats in 2019 and Boris Johnson's resignations honours list. 7 appointments to the House of Lords, including failed London mayoral candidate Sean Bailey, who was photographed at a party breaking COVID restrictions in 2020, his former political director and current spokesperson Ross Kempsell, and Charlotte Owen, a former advisor to Mr Johnson, still in her 20s. She will now become one of the youngest life peers ever. Jacob Rees-Mogg also receives a knighthood, and former Home Secretary Priti Patel becomes a dame. Is he popular up here? Even MPs formerly loyal to Boris Johnson, though, like Miriam Cates, would rather talk about the current Conservative leader.
People very much like him, think he's serious, getting on with the job.
They used to very much like Boris Johnson. How's it going to help you in voters around here? Boris Johnson packing the House of Lords full of his friends.
I've just answered your question that Rishi is, people consider he's doing well. I think, you know, his personal approval ratings show that. I'm going to get some good stuff.
But do you have a problem with Boris Johnson packing the House full of Lords? Notably not on the list, though, former Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries. Earlier in the day, she said she wouldn't resign her seat. Hours later, resigned with immediate effect.
So what happened during the course of today to change your mind?
Well, I can't reveal everything. But so something significant did happen to change my mind. And, you know, I'm not someone who's going to go, you know, blabbing out what that was immediately. I need to, you know, process a few thoughts and things. But so, yeah, something significant did happen to change my mind. And I did do. And I think it's for the best.
One man who is entering the Lords, though, Tees Valley Mayor Ben Houchen, praised by the Conservatives for creating jobs at Teesside Freeport, but that redevelopment has been mired with allegations of, quote, industrial-scale corruption. Every other day, Labour are calling you out and Teesside Port out for alleged cronyism and corruption. It's not exactly great headlines for a chap who's about to join the House of Lords, is it?
Well, the Labour Party are doing what they're doing because they're embarrassed for the last half a century. They've delivered nothing for Teesside, and I've been in power for 6 years, and we've absolutely transformed Teesside, and we're going to continue to do so. They've had power for half a century. There's a lot of allegations about alleged corruption and cronyism there. That's not a great look for a man who's about to join the House of Lords. So I'm not going to comment on those because there's an independent review, and I look forward to having another piece with you at the end of that review that shows that not only the allegations completely false, they've been proven to be false by an independent panel. This is just the Labour Party stirring.
The focus of this conference was the North, not ennoblement, though. For some business leaders, the voters in the North that once lent their votes to the Tories in 2019 haven't been repaid yet.
We've lost our international airport, Doncaster Airport, it's closed its doors. We're closing the doors on our National College for Advanced Transport and Infrastructure. We had a knockback on our hospital bed recently. We came second in the bid to get the Great British Railways headquarters brought to Doncaster.
So do you feel levelled up at the moment?
We're not feeling levelled up yet.
When he's talking about his 5 big ideas for this year, levelling up isn't among there. The North doesn't feature in there.
It's implicit. People say, well, education doesn't either. It's implicit in all of them. Economy, how are we going to grow the economy? If you look at a lot of the focuses and the areas, the sectors, the places, the skills that are needed, they're all underneath all of that. So we're not going to grow our economy without our fantastic people
All
in
right,
the North.
you're trying to focus on all of that, and meanwhile, Boris Johnson is about to put a whole load of his cronies in the House of Lords. How's that going to go down with voters up here?
I think voters are used to retiring prime ministers putting forward their honours
Are they
lists.
going to be happy about it? Are they going to thank you for it in an election?
Well, they don't need to thank me. I guess they can thank Boris if they feel like it.
It's not thanks that's needed, though, it's votes. And in the Red Wall next year, they're far from guaranteed.
So there are no sitting MPs that have been offered peerages. There were 4 that people were expecting: Alistair Jack, Nigel Adams, Alok Sharma and Nadine Dorries. Now, the theory was, of course, that the Downing Street was told that if they were given peerages, there would have to be by-elections in their seats, by-elections which Rishi Sunak did not want. Well, Nadine Dorries didn't even wait for the list to drop this afternoon. She quit this afternoon. A by-election will be happening. Not only that, she teased in that little clip there that there will be more coming up behind her decision-making process. This is something that Rishi Sunak really wants to draw a line under. Nadine Dorries, at least, making sure that isn't the case.